The topic of today is the reason why love turns to hate is because of soul ties. So we are going to be talking today about soul ties. So soul ties is another reason why love turns to hate. Soul ties is another reason why love turns to hate. So I'm going to be talking about soul ties today. Oh, Father, I pray that you bless everybody that is here today. Minister to everyone. Speak to us. Speak through your vessel. Speak through your servants. Speak through your son today. Let your word come forth with clarity, with power, and with understanding, and insight, and light, and illumination. In Jesus' name. Amen. So, I'm sure most of us have heard of the word soul tie or soul ties. What are they? Where are they coming from? Well, let me first of all tell you the source or the origin of soul ties before I tell you what they mean. So soul ties start by us. Okay, let's say soul tie is what happens in relationships. So soul tie is one of the occurrences and one of the things that we come across in human relationships. And I would not say soul ties are always bad or negative or evil, but soul ties could be both good and bad. So soul ties could be both good and bad. So where do they come from, and what is it? I mean, how do we come to understand? Let me talk about where did they come first, where they come from first, before I begin to tell you what it really means. Now, soul tie is when we are building a relationship with another person, and that relationship could be friendship mainly. That relationship could be family relationship. That relationship could be among friends, especially relationships among girls, women among themselves, or friends among themselves, same sex, women among women, men among men. So soul ties could occur when people are just friendly with each other among themselves. So soul tie does not have to have any intimate or sexual connotation. So when we're talking about soul ties, we're not talking about relationship only between opposite sex. Even though soul ties are highly possible in relationships between opposite sex. But besides soul ties that happen and occur in relationship of opposite sex, there is also a high possibility that a large percentage of people who suffer from soul ties actually suffer from soul tie within the same sex. So people who are girlfriends or who are just friends, casual friends or good friends, could actually suffer from soul ties as well. And even men could suffer from soul ties. Although men, I would say, suffer less among themselves from soul ties, but I think it's mainly the girls and the ladies that suffer most from soul ties when it comes to same-sex soul tie. Now, what is the possibility of soul tie, of this occurrence that we call soul tie? Where is it coming from? What is the origin of soul ties, and where are they coming from? What is the reason for it? What is the basis for a soul tie? Now, let me say this. Soul tie comes about in relationships where one or two partners or two friends are enjoying or are used to enjoying good relationships among themselves. Not just good relationship, but beneficial relationship, I would say. Beneficial relationship. So let's say two ladies are friends, all right? Okay, let's say maybe they are even more. Let's say we have a group of girls, 4 girls or 3 girls. But one of them, or let's say you are Clara. And Clara is a friend to Ruth and a friend to, what name? Kate. So Ruth and Kate and Clara. So Clara is a friend to both Ruth and Kate. But Clara discovers that Kate treats her better than all other friends of hers. And Clara begins to realize that the relationship she has with Kate is even much more trustworthy than the relationship she has with her own family. Maybe even much more trustworthy than the relationship she has with her mother or with her sisters, or with her brothers, or with her family members. Why? Because Kate treats her with so much honor, with so much respect. And Kate is always meeting our needs. Now, sooner or later, what's the name of this one? Clara gets used to that particular, even though she's still a friend to the two of them, but she got used to the particular good treatment from Kate. Even though she's still friendly with Ruth, but they have become best of friends with with Kate right now. So Clara and Kate are now best friends. Now there's nothing bad about people having best friends, about having friends. But so where is the danger of a soul tie coming in? When girls are befriending each other, where do we have the danger? Where comes a possibility of a soul tie? When girls, these are girls among themselves. They are not. It's not like they are sexual or they are intimate. No homosexuality, no lesbianism, just friends. Now, how I wish you were present here in my presence and I could use some illustrations. I feel like bringing out some people and illustrating, but I cannot do that. So I'm going to try to figure out how to do this for you. Let's say you are Clara. But Kate is treating you so well. And she knows your needs. She understands you. She meets your needs. She knows exactly what you need. You kind of understand each other. And after some time, you become so used to her, and she gets used to you as well, that you begin to have some certain expectations, you are Clara, from her and towards her. So you begin to now expect only good attitudes from Kate. You begin to now expect only good, positive attitudes from her and reactions from her. So whenever you come to her to fellowship with her, to talk to her, you are expecting her to understand you. And she has always been understanding you. Number one. Number two, you are always expecting her to support you. And yes, she has always been supporting you. Number three, you always expect her to be happy to see you. And indeed, she's always been happy to see you. And you've always expected her to celebrate you, give you gifts when you have celebration, anniversary, or things going on for you, because you do the same thing for her. And then you expect her to do the same thing for you. So at what point do we cross the line of a soul tie, which could lead to love turning to hate. So you love each other, right? At what point does that love turns to hate? Now, soul tie, therefore, is what? Soul tie begins to develop when you are now so comfortable, you are Clara, and you are now so comfortable with Kate that you almost 100% of the time expect for her to provide for your comfort. So the reason for your friendship now is the comfort you receive from her. The reason for your friendship and what you call friendship, what you call best friend, is actually the good feelings or the good feeling and the feel-good attitude and relationship that you receive from her. So the good attitude, the good relationship, the good reactions to you, the good relationship that you always get from her, that is where the problem of soul tie begins. So soul tie, therefore, comes from you always expecting to feel good around your friend. Soul tie, therefore, begins to come in when you expect that that person who is your girlfriend is a source of your good. And that is where our problem is, because we are all egocentric, we are all selfish. That is where soul tie comes from. So we only call friends, the people we call friends are people that make us feel good. So if Kate makes me feel good all the time, because she doesn't hurt my feelings, because she doesn't say things that anger me, because she will not tell me things that will make me mad, because she always tells me good things that makes me feel good about myself, that I like to hear. She always relates properly to me. She always treats me nice. But the other girl, Ruth, she also treats me nice, but she could tell me things in my face and make me mad. Or she could tell me whatever she wants. Or she could just throw out to me everything in her heart. Or she could just tell me things that are wrong with me. Maybe I'm not looking nice, or maybe I don't look beautiful today, or maybe, but this other girl, Kate, she loves me all the time, the way I am. When we begin to expect unconditional love, but not just unconditional love, but a love that does not bring out ill feelings, that does not bring out hurtful feelings in me. That is when we are now head deep into soul tie. So a soul tie relationship begins when I only expect to receive positive attitudes, positive relationship, positive reactions, positive words, positive friendship. When everything I'm expecting from that friendship is only good. And so, whenever anything happens, where that my girlfriend Kate refuses to acknowledge the good in me, or refuses to compliment the good, or to give me good, whenever good stops coming from her to me, whenever good stops emanating from her to me, whenever good stops coming from our direction to me, it begins to stir up anger, disagreement, discouragement in me. So even though the girl might still have loved me, but when she begins to tell me things straight in my face, I begin to get angry. Whenever she begins to tell me, even these things she's telling me are true, But I'm no more used to receiving the truth from her. And I don't expect to receive truth from her. I don't expect to receive anything hurtful from her. I don't expect to receive anything painful from her. In my mind, I had positioned her to be a source of my good. I have called her my friend or my best friend. And so since she's now my best friend and my friend, she shouldn't be a source of pain to me. She cannot be a source of pain to me because she's my friend. She cannot be a source of hurt to me. She cannot be a source of pain to me because she's my friend. So that is setting the table for love to turn to hate. And we are also selfish, guys. We are also selfish, friends, that basically that is what we call friendship. What I just described now is what we call friendship. We think true friendship will never hurt us. We think true friendship will never inflict pain on us. We think that if it is friendship, if he really loves me, he's supposed to cuddle me and fondle me and, love on me and make me feel good about myself. And that's what we call friendship. But if you really think critically about it, is that friendship? It's called selfishness. Is that friendship? It's called egocentrism. Real friendship, however, will give you both the good and the bad. Will tell you the truth. But because in our mind, a friend will never hurt me. So we don't expect him, even if he's telling us something, even if she's telling us something that is true, we think, but you are my friend. And we begin to distance ourselves from that kind of friend. What kind of friend is she if she's hurting my feelings? What kind of friend is she if she's inflicting pain on me? That is soul tie. Soul tie is when I have gotten to a place when I depend on my friend to be a source of only good. So I'm going to that person to be fed with good feelings. I'm going to that person to receive good attitude. I'm going to that person depending, like a vampire, depending on that relationship and on that person to feel good about myself. And so when that person now begins to say things that I do not expect, or things that I feel are hurtful, or things that I think are too harsh, then I begin to get irritated. Then I begin to get offended. Then this soul tie of, the love changing to what? To hate begins to come. I go from irritation to hatred, to anger, to hatred, and all kind of negative feelings begin to come from it. But the truth though is that your best friends are not the ones that only provide for your comfort. Your friends that only give you comfort, they are good, but I'm not sure that's what you want. You want a friend whose relationship with will be based not on feel good, not on how I feel, or not the one that will make you feel all the time, But you want that your friendship to be based on the truth above all, rather than good feeling. And almost everybody suffer from this. So, and that's why, that's what we call soul tie. Soul tie, I'm expecting only positive things from this guy. I know he's my friend, and that's what we call friendship. But you love me. That is the problem that we have in families and relationships as well. So in families and relationships, we begin to say, but you are my husband, but you are my wife, but you are supposed to love me, or you are my boyfriend, or you are my girlfriend. If you love me, you will not hurt me. That's what we think. We say, if you love me, why should you make me so painful? Why should you tell me such a truth, so painful truth, so harsh? We care less about the fact that what that person is telling us is the truth. We care less about the fact that that person is after our ultimate good, but we are hurtful and we become painful because the person did not give us good feelings at this particular time. So we are wondering, why is it that he did not give us good feeling? Why is it that he's making us to feel so terrible? Why is it making us to feel so horrible? We are mindful of our emotions. And because we've been brainwashed and we've been taught wrongly. And our culture makes you to think that your friend really is the one that makes you to feel good. But it doesn't follow. If you follow your common sense and if you think critically, you will discover that no, the fact that somebody makes you to feel good all the time, that will not help you too much, because that's going to be dangerous for you. That is why the love of your parents and of your family is more genuine than the love of that your friend that is always making you feel good. Yes, your mom or your dad might not make you feel good all the time, but they will tell you the truth most of the time. You see, your dad and your mom, your parents, are put in your life not to become your friends. Because your friends are the people you call friends. And most of us actually choose friends based on how good they make us feel. Is it not true? Most of us, we actually determine friendship by how much good they make us feel. How much good they make us feel. So if a friend doesn't make us feel too good, we say it's not my friend. It's just my friend. It's just my casual friend. It's not my best friend. But my best friend are the one that make me only feel good. So that is why, that is how a soul tie is developed. That is actually not friendship. That is soul tie right there. That is a soul tie. That is a soul tie. Because that kind of friendship will always end up in pain. And that is the kind of, that is a ground that is set for love to be turned to hatred right there. That is the kind of relationship that quickly turns to hatred. And you women who are looking at me right now, remember your secondary school days. Remember your primary school days. You remember your high school days. You remember your college days. You remember among you women, among you girls, right? You remember the quarrels and the fight? And who do those fights take place among most of the time? Most of the time from somebody who was your best friend. Those fights happen among people you are very close with. And they still happen today. When the people you are very close with, you begin to have antagonism, you begin to have pain, you begin to have fight and struggle and conflict and all kind of disagreements. I mean, in secondary school and high school, you college days, you are friendly today, you are close today, you've been close for years, and all of a sudden, you just fight, you just cut relationship and you never talk again, you don't talk again. You don't talk, you don't even look to each other anymore. You don't look, why? You are already fighting, because the person has just done something that you did not expect from that person. The person has just said something, or done something that you thought from your own point of view that is not fair. That, but she was supposed to be my girlfriend. He was supposed to be my friend. Why now? And I never did that to her. I never behaved like that to her. How could she behave? Okay, so, okay, now, yeah, okay, I will never talk to her anymore. I will never talk to her anymore. I never talk to him anymore. Okay, so this person is not my friend. He's really not my friend. Okay. And the reason why we do that is because we were expecting that person to serve and minister into our comfort, to walk into our comfort, to fulfill our desires, to fulfill our aspirations, our intentions, our feelings. We want them to feed into our feelings. We want that friend to feed into our joy, our expectations, our likeness. And then we say we are enemies. But over the years, when you look back, you begin to look at, why did we even fight with that girl? Well, there was no problem really. You begin to say, okay, we used to be friends, but later on you just forget about it. You would never even wonder, so why did this thing even happen in the first place? Because, you are foolish a little bit, I'm sorry. When you are still a teenager or a young girl, it's foolishness in the head, foolishness. Because foolishness makes you to expect only good from your friends. Foolishness is what makes you to expect only compliments from your friends. Foolishness is what makes you to expect your friend to only minister and serve into your good feelings. And I tell you what, so many grown-up women and men have still not passed through that high school, college days, sentiment. So many of us have not graduated from that sentiment. We have not graduated yet. Some of us, even though we are 50 or 60 or 55 or 45, we are still like that. But I never treated her that way. But I always told her the good things. But I never expected that from her. There's some people like that. They have their own children, but they are getting... she's my friend. Oremi. That's my Nigerian language. Oremi. So we are always expecting that a friend, which means a friend, my friend. We always expect good stories from them. We only expect encouraging stories. We only expect them to support our mindset. We always expect them to play, to dance to our tune. And and when they don't do that, we become mad and we begin to suffer as a result of that. So the soul tie, therefore, is the disappointment you feel, the suffering you feel, the let down feeling kind of that you feel. That is what we call soul tie. That's what we normally refer to as soul tie. Because you are now dependent on that person. You are now used to being fed by that person, by that person's attitude, by that person's positive attitude, by your expectations, and by all the good things. And now that thing is broken down, you begin to suffer. And that happens also between men and women. That happens between boyfriends and girlfriends all the time. Why is it that most of our first love experience, or intimacy, or not intimacy, what do you call it? Love experience, yeah. Most of our early love experiences, they always come down crashing. You know why? Because those things we call love, they're actually soul ties. They're actually soul ties. And you know why it's soul tie? Why is it soul tie? It's a soul tie because when you feel that a boy loves you, or a man or a woman loves you, you begin to expect the person to only satisfy you. So we think love is the fact that if he loves me, he's going to be making me feel good all the time. So we now begin to think that love, if love me or he pays attention to me, means it will make me feel good all the time. So when you are 16 or you are 17 or you are 14 and you say, she says he loves me, oh, we are boyfriend and girlfriend. And you begin to just suffer a lot of pain. Why? Because it makes you feel good sometimes. Then you discover that all of a sudden, box, he did something wrong or did something that you didn't expect from him, and you just get angry. And you are not my boyfriend. How do you say you love me? If you love me, why should you make me feel like that? But you say you love me now, but it's my boyfriend. But you are my boyfriend. Why should you hurt me like that? we begin to get mad that our boyfriend or girlfriend is not fulfilling our desire, is not fulfilling our expectation. Because soul tie is when you begin to think that if he loves me really, if he really loves me, if he really says he loves me, so some even girls will begin to play foolishness and be doing some stupid thing to just make him to prove that yes, to receive the right attitude from him and make him prove to them that you really love me. If you really, I will see now. If you really loves me. And the boy might not see. Most of the boys are blind. Most of the boys, especially when they are teenagers, they are not saying it. I just did new hairstyle, and I just came back from the salon and from the hairdresser, and he didn't notice it. I'm annoyed. The women even do that. Even wives do that. Why? Because it's a soul tie thing. You are expecting them to be the source of your good. You are expecting. The next day, they say, why are you angry? What was happening? You didn't notice my hair, or you didn't notice my new clothes. That was say, why did I notice? I'm busy doing more serious things. They say, but I'm doing it for you now. I thought I'm doing it for you, and now you are not noticing. Why? Because these kind of things happen in soul tie relationships, So even in marriage, people have this kind of soul tie relationships. But marriage is a black and white relationship. It's supposed to be both black and white and all kind of things. But when people are used to soul tie kind of thing, they are only expecting good things. So when the good things are not always coming, or something. Or sometimes there are negative things that come. Then, the lady will begin to suffer, or the man will begin to suffer. But I thought we were friends. But I thought he loves me. But I thought she's my husband. How can you be my husband and do that? How can you be my husband and look at the other person? How can you look at her? So tight, therefore. Now let's go to the video. So now let's go to the meaning of soul tie. So what is a soul tie? A soul tie, therefore, is a situation where people are building a relationship, and that relationship has got so close. So it might be between women, it might be between men, it might just any kind of relationship. It might even be between parents sometimes, but with parents it's a little bit rare. But in marriage, in relationship, in friendship especially, and especially in the opposite sex, boyfriend, girlfriend kind of situation, or even in marriages. So it's when people are building a relationship of friendship or love, and then they get to a place where they become emotionally dependent. So, for example, what do we mean by emotionally dependent? It means that if the person that I expect to love me or to relate to me nicely or to be my friend, if the person did not call me, emotionally dependent. So I'm feeling bad, I'm suffering. He has not called me the whole day today. But he promised to call. What is happening now? Where is he now? Why is he not calling me? But I called him today. I told him to come. But he promised to come. So the suffering that you go through, and it could be between girlfriends as well. It could be between boys and girls, or boy and girl and girl, because it's emotional dependency. It's emotional bond. So you are now, the reason what leads to emotional bond and emotional dependency is that you are expecting. So what does emotional dependency? You see, when we talk about dependency, it's like an alcoholic. You know what alcoholic means? Alcoholic dependency is, being alcoholic means to be alcoholic dependent. And alcoholic dependent means that if you don't top it and drink a little bit of alcohol every morning like that, or evening, you are hungry you feel like you are missing something. Something is missing. You feel like drinking all the time before you could be normal. Before you could feel yourself okay, you have to drink a little bit of glass like that. The same thing here. People could also be emotionally dependent. And there are a lot of people who marry because of this emotional dependency, because of soul ties. Not because of genuine love, but because of soul ties. So what happens therefore is that their life now becomes a dependent life upon another person, upon another person's life and another person's behavior. So if they feel that the other person is not behaving the way they expect, and they are not receiving from that person what they expect, they begin to suffer. Just like an alcoholic is suffering without a drink. When he doesn't have a drink, he cannot find himself a place. That is how emotionally dependent people, soul-tied people, suffer. So this could happen between friends. This could happen between girlfriends. This could happen between boyfriend or girlfriend. This could happen between, any relationship. Because that's when you are emotionally, you see, we are all supposed to be dependent on God. Totally, purely. And, we could have emotion towards each other, but we shouldn't be feeding off another person. Because it's like being a vampire, really. It's like, depending. It's like being a parasite. So as a parasite, it's a parasitical kind of relationship. You are feeding off the other person. You don't say like that, you just say we are friends. And most friends are parasitical. Most friendships are parasitical. Most of the things we call friendship are about feeding, making me feel good. As long as I'm feeling good from you, or maybe you two are feeling good from me, I don't care. But at least we focus more on what we could get. It's egocentrism, selfishness. So when we begin to just feed on ourselves, when we depend on our emotions most of the time, that is where the problem. When we we depend that other people's emotion or other people's life will feel our emotion. That's where the people. So it's an emotional dependency, emotional bondage, emotional hunger that we feel that will need to be filled through other people that we relate with. Is an emotional dependency, connection, relationship that ties us up with another person. It ties our joy with another person. So I will not be happy if that other person is not doing something that I want him to do. It ties down our happiness to another person, to that relationship. So I will not be happy if that husband or that wife doesn't do what I want him to do or her to do. Some people have this kind of emotional relationship or dependency with their parents as well, especially when they are grown up. So you are expecting them to always do something for you. When they don't do it, you become disappointed. So you are moody because of another person. But we are all supposed to be, our moods and our feeling must depend on what is happening inside us. Your mood and your joy and your happiness must depend on your fullness. The fullness and the totality that you have inside of you. The peace that you have inside of you. The relationship that you have with the Father. The joy that you are receiving from Him. The fullness that you are receiving from Him. The joy that you are receiving from the Lord is supposed to be what is supposed to be determining your mood and your feeling and your joy and your happiness and everything. But when you now are bonded to another person, it becomes negative. It becomes something negative. So what are the results of a soul tie? How do you know if you're having a soul tie with somebody? Number one, you find yourself being tormented by the thought about that person. If the person is not around or the person is not calling you, you are not just missing the person, but you're feeling torment. You are suffering. So it's one thing to miss somebody, but it's another thing to be feeling tormented. It's another thing to be feeling as if you are suffering. So after feeling that suffering, then the next stage is that you begin to feel anger against that person, as if that person is to blame because of your own expectations. So maybe the person maybe the person says, I love you. And in your own mind, I love you means you have to be there for me, you have to be calling me, you have to be doing this to me, you have to be doing. And when the person is not doing it, maybe the person has another understanding of I love you, you begin to suffer. And once you are suffering, you begin to get disappointed. And that disappointment will lead to anger. And that anger leads to hatred and accusation and all kind of things. So that is a soul tie. Now, another thing that happens when you have a soul tie is you spend most of your time thinking about that person so that you feel good. You cannot go, you want to go to bed, instead of going to bed normally as a human being or think about yourself or your day, you are thinking about that person. You are daydreaming about the person. And that is the thing that makes you to feel. So throughout the whole day, you are just thinking about the person. It's as if, you know the way the lovers do. But you don't have to do that even if you are lovers. It's soul tie. Soul dependency is called. Soul dependency. And when now the person behaves in a way that you don't expect, you now begin to, think negative things about that same person. And you now begin to control the person. You want to control the person. You want to manipulate the person. Because you are not getting your fulfillment from yourself. You are not mature enough to be the source of your own joy and happiness. You are making yourself dependent on another person so that the other person now becomes your own source of joy, of peace, and of satisfaction, instead of God to be your source. Another thing that a person that has soul tie does is that even if it's your husband and your wife, you still don't need to build your relationship built on soul ties. What does soul tie do again? Soul tie makes you to want to check on that person all the time. So you are checking on their phone, you are taking their telephone behind their back and look at who wrote it. Who wrote him? Who wrote her? Who wrote him? What did he say? Who called you? Who just called you now? Who called you now? You are going to their internet. You are going to their Facebook. What? Let me see the record of the telephone. Let me see the. You don't have to do all that. It's all as a result of it. That is not love. Love doesn't behave like that. Love lives in peace. Love is trusting. Love believes. Love will not be doing all those kind of control and checking on people behind their back, and that's also not very fair, not very truthful, not very fair, not very truthful. Another evidence, another manifestation or proof of soul tie is you live in reminiscing about them and rehearsing your time with them. So you spend a time with that person and you felt good, and you are always replaying your time or your feel good time with that person. And so for you to be happy, you have to replay the thing. If you are not replaying something, you are sad. So you always need, that leads to you always wanting to sap from that person and to control them, because you want to have another feeling like that. And if they're not there for you, it turns to hate. Those things are what makes love to turn to hate. So love is on a higher level a little bit, but soul ties will make you, it's connected to a lot of pain and suffering. And those pains and suffering are all connected to our expectations, because we want that person to be a source of joy and all that to us. So if the person says, "Why are you shaking my telephone?" you get angry, even though you are the one who is wrong. You are the one who shouldn't be checking that telephone. But if the person finds out that you're checking the telephone, you even get angry. Why can I not check it? Is it not? Are we not friends? Don't you say you love me? So we begin to accuse each other and all that. So love turns to hate. Love turns to hate. And if you are thinking of the person, and then the person didn't call you and say, "Well, so you don't think about me. So I'm the only one, you don't think about me, you begin to accuse another person and others." So those are evidences or proofs of soul tie. Now, why is a soul tie bad? Soul tie could be dangerous because sometimes you become so much attached to a person that even though the person is, you could become so attached to a person that you cannot live your own life anymore. You could become attached to a person that you cannot live your own life anymore. You don't live normal life. You are always depending on them. You are always thinking about them. You are always controlling them. And those people become angry at you eventually. They become, it leads to conflict, and they want to get rid of you. They want to get free from you because that's not love. That is soul tie. So a lot of things that people call love is not really love. It's just soul tie. And it is this kind of soul tie that makes people to stay in abusive relationships. Because they are so dependent on that person, even though the person is abusing them, and they are not happy, but they are still dreaming of the happy times they had, or they are still dreaming of the future happy time they want to have. And so they will endure what they should not endure. They endure abuse. They endure, some people even beat them. Some people, speak bad to them or treat them bad. And so they will still stay in that relationship despite that abuse because they have become so tied to that person. Sometimes it could be sexual abuse, it could be verbal abuse, it could be physical abuse, emotional abuse. But when you have soul tie, people who have soul tie have the tendency of falling into abuse, into abusive hands. It's not necessarily because the person is bad, but soul tie will always provoke abuse. Because you are always depending. Even if anybody is going to be walking after you everywhere, you cannot you go to the toilet, where are you going? You come out of the toilet, where are you going? Are you there? You want to, are you what do you want? You want to go out for fresh air, and there, you are here again. Why? What are you doing? This toilet I'm going, I just come here for 1 minute. Where are you? So, sometimes people are not bad, but soul tie will make you to make them bad by force. And it happens in families of that sort. So the person will say, make you give me breathing space. Give me my space. Because when you have soul tie, you don't think about other person's space at all. You are only thinking about you, what you will get from them. So the person would like to stand up for himself. And he's right that he wants to stand up for himself. Of course, it's wrong for him to abuse you in the process, but we should learn to be independent of people. We should learn to be dependent on God. We should learn to also, develop our inner mind, to develop our inner strength, stamina, so that we'll be able to learn to be dependent on God, on our inner qualities, so that we will be able to stand on our own, rather than looking on who to depend on. That's why a lot of people, they fall in love so easily. He was just in love with one person 1 month ago, and now he's already in love with another one. Another one next love, another one next love, another, because it's all about infatuation now, and it's all about soul ties, and a lot of it's not good. So that's what leads a lot of girls to losing their virginity, this soul tie thing. A lot of girls, because they want to do anything to keep that relationship. They want to do anything to keep, not to lose that friend or not to lose that relationship. So they will do anything. They will sleep with the person or do anything. They don't even care about that. They are thinking about the feeling that they have. It's egocentrism. Because love would normally think about the care, the betterment, the good of the other person. But lust, which is, soul tie is lust, will always think about yourself first. So you are now becoming a burden for the other person without even noticing it. And you become a parasite. And you think you are loving them. You call it love, but it's really vampire. So it leads to abusive relationships. It leads to abuse. It leads to adultery. It leads to sex before marriage. It leads to obsession and obsessive entanglement. It leads to controlling relationships. So, what are the consequences? What are the consequences that people suffer as a result of soul ties? People are left confused because I think he loves me. I think it doesn't love me. I think he said he loves me, but I'm saying he's confused. Does he love me? Does he not love me? What do I do? What do I do? Soul tie leads to confusion. Number 2, soul tie makes you to feel miserable. So you just be feeling miserable. On one hand, you love the person. On the other hand, you are feeling miserable. It's soul tie. Because the love has turned to hate. Soul tie makes your mind to be tormented. You cannot sleep. You are only thinking of the bad thing or the good thing. Or your mind is just confused. That is always mental case. It's soul tie. And you'll be blaming the other person. You'll be angry with the other person. You'll be hating on the other person. You don't take responsibility because of your egocentrism, because of yourself. Because you are thinking about yourself, your own good. You are not thinking about the good of the other person. Next point, next consequence. When you are in a soul tie relationship, or as a result of soul tie, you are ready to disobey God. You will still say you love God though, but you are ready to do anything to keep that you're feeling, to sustain that you're feeling. You are ready to do anything to please the other person rather than God. So God, God comes second in your life. I mean, you begin to push God back. That thing begins to separate between you and God. And that is dangerous. And anything that does that to you, you lose eventually. What are other consequences of soul ties? Soul tie blocks your ability to hear God because you are always thinking about the other person. So a soul tie will stop you from being to disturb and reduce your ability to hear God, clearly. Soul tie always leads to pain and hurtful feelings. Soul tie makes you to feel always almost uncomfortable. You cannot find yourself a place. You are always agitated and excited and irritated. It's not unhealthy excitement. You can't find yourself a place. You're always agitated and uncomfortable. Soul tie is always thinking about what makes you feel good. It's always thinking about fulfilling your flesh desire rather than fulfilling your spirit desire. when we are in a soul tie kind of relationship, we lose coordination of ourselves. We lose our common sense. We lose our common sense. Logics don't work. Only emotions work. And feelings. Soul tie also leads to manipulation. You begin to manipulate the other person. Even in prayers, you say you are praying for them, that God should speak to them, or God should change them, or God should, all kind, using the name of God to control and manipulate another person. I also said there could be some manifestation of good soul ties. But what could make soul tie to be good is when you love each other, but you love the truth more. Then you are more interested in the truth. You still love the truth. So you put the truth over your relationship. That could make the soul tie to be for your good. Another thing that could make the soul tie to be good for you is that you acknowledge the fact that the person loves you no matter what. So it has to be genuine love. Because in genuine love also you could have some manifestation of soul tie. Like for example, in the case of Jonathan and David, that was a soul tie there, but it was more positive. That is more positive. And I think Jesus also with his disciples, they had not just love, but I think there was a bit of soul tie there, but you know, maybe that was a little bit of a good example, but well, let me see, what is the time? Okay, my time is over. Well, I hope you've learned something today, and I hope you've been blessed today. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here with us. God bless.